Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Who are these people?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Don't be rude.
Who are these
Welcome
people?
to another episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Angel Rivera, alongside Miss.Witchy Perfect. So tonight we're going to be reviewing Saturday night's main event that happened last Saturday. And then if we have time, we'll go talk about current events in wrestling. And then hour 2 and Rumble exclusive and the other platforms, we'll be watching wrestling clips. So hope you join us for all 2 hours, because we do have to only go 2 hours this week. So, how you doing tonight? Few days before Christmas, huh?
I am. Yeah, well, I did a Yule special for those who follow me on Black Magic Talk. It is a Yule special ritual that I read out and give you time to set your altar up and etc. So if you want to check that out, links are in the description field.
Yeah.
Check me out.
So, yeah, let's get into Saturday night's main event. There's only 5 matches. Technically, there was a dark match before the show started, but that was for the arena, so that's listed here. But we didn't see it, so I'll just list it out here.
Who was the dark
It
match?
was the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, defeating A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller by pinfall in 8 minutes. So
No idea. I don't know what to say about that. But hey, when they opened, there was
Yeah.
Jesse Ventura. Welcome back, bud. All back and all. I mean, he looks not all there, but I think he still got it.
Yeah.
I think he still got it.
He still got it. I mean, it's it wasn't like he was lost out there. I mean, he got right back into it like he never left. So
Yeah, 40
Yeah.
years later, and he's still Jesse Ventura. Jesse the
wasn't
Body.
like he never
right?
left. So yeah, it's incredible. I mean, once you
Mhm.
learn something, once you're in wrestling and you pick up something, even if you leave for 30 years, you come back and it's like right back into it. Nothing ever happened.
Like you still
Yeah,
got
like a couple
it.
weeks ago, I played that the last time Jesse and Vince, on Rumble, were together on commentary. It's like nothing ever happened. They were fantastic together after over 20 years.
Yeah, I even for Vince, and I'm not much for Vince McMahon, guys, but I'll tell you what. I mean, Jesse had it. He was all excited. I thought he was going to commentate throughout the whole thing, and here he was just going to do
Yeah, I
the
thought so too.
live
I
or
thought
the main event.
I thought he would do the entire night, but instead they had him with Joe Tessasaur and Tessasaur or whatever his name is, and he would pop in throughout the night and give his comments, and then go right back to Michael Cole and I say Pat Murphy on Pat McAfee. They called the action.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, McAfee's back from football because I mean, football is kind of
Yeah,
winding
pretty
down.
much.
But like, they said that he's going to be there
He's
permanently.
he's
Is that what I
back
heard?
full time on Netflix. Yeah, when it Raw goes to Netflix, but
Okay.
he'll leave again in September once football starts back up.
Well, yeah, okay. Um, so, and breaking news: the Steelers lost. But more breaking news: Texas won.
Mhm.
Go Texas Longhorns. Okay. So again, we start off with this brilliant promo that Jesse does. I love it. The first match we
Yeah.
have host.
Yeah, and real quick before that, Jesse's promo was about Cody and Dusty, and I didn't know that if Jesse never wrestled Dusty. I thought they wrestled. They had to. They were in the territories together. He said they never had a match. I mean,
Well, yeah, but maybe they kind of, even if they went around to the territories, they still like. I mean, Kurt Hennig never wrestled Rick Rude, so I mean, and they were in the territories.
I'm
But
su-
remember, they kind of were never in the
I
same
thought I
territory at the
thought
same
Jesse and
time.
Dusty were in Florida at the same time. Maybe I'm wrong. I would have to look into that. But
I don't think so.
Good.
If they did anything, it was probably a dark match that nobody
Yeah,
saw.
so according to Jesse, at least never wrestled Dusty. So maybe he forgot if he did, but he's like in his 70s. So
Well, yeah, I put on my page. If you guys go to my X account for Kurt Hennig podcast, you guys will see that we finally someone put on the match for between Jesse and Kurt Hennig back in 1981, which is what was in the WWF with Vince Senior. Jesse would win that match, but when you ask Jesse about it, he doesn't
yeah,
remember.
so
So I put it there so he would remember the match. Oh, okay, that's my other match with
yeah,
Kurt. Yeah,
so
so
it's possible. I never saw the match. Usually, there's a lot of accounts I follow that put up great matches, and we play them a lot here on the second hour. So, and I never seen a Jesse Dusty Rhodes match, even though that would have been probably good. Jesse's a great heel, and Dusty was a great babyface. So I'm surprised they don't work together. But I'll digress from that. That we can't take too long on this. So. The opening match of the card was Drew McIntyre defeating Sami Zayn by pinfall in 10 minutes. By the way, a lot of these
I
matches were
mean,
short because you only had 2 hours, so they had to get through them quickly. So
mhm. Well, and I kind of questioned this at first, like why would he go after Sami Zayn? But then you had mentioned the history between him, Drew McIntyre, and
the
Roman
bloodline,
Reigns. So anyone who's on the side of Roman Reigns is going to get
Drew
the wrath
McIntyre,
of Drew
and
McIntyre. So I think this
yeah,
is a good match. I just I sort of questioned like why at first, like why we were doing this kind of match, but now he's going after Jay and he's going after CM Punk
yeah,
again. So I don't think that feud is kind of over. I think he's just going to take people out one by
yeah,
one because he literally said in a promo, I believe, that I can't believe you people sided with CM Punk, who also sided with Roman Reigns,
yeah, yeah,
right? And
hmm
saved Roman Reigns too. I mean, CM Punk would eventually
yeah,
save Roman Reigns in the War Games match. So, I mean, I think this is a good angle. I just don't think
yeah.
it's over between him and
No, I mean,
McIntyre,
and
CM
McIntyre
Punk.
needed a big win because he lost
Oh,
his
he
last
got
two
it.
matches against CM
I'm
Punk, so he needed a big win, and he got
right,
it.
right. And I go back to this is literally it's like you will take it down one
hmm
by one. So you're gonna take out Sami Zayn, you're gonna take out Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and all the people that were with Punk during, and eventually, of course, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, so a lot of the storylines revolve around Roman Reigns one way or another, especially on SmackDown. So yeah, I'm not really surprised. I mean, like we think we both predicted Drew would win because Sammy is so over with the
Hmm.
audience that he could take a loss and doesn't affect him. So Doesn't matter. So that's why it makes sense to put Drew with Sammy and have Drew get that big win. All right. So in the next match we have the women's world title match between Liv Morgan and Io Sky. This match was god awful.
I didn't pay freaking attention. The only thing I paid attention to is when Rhea came out and
Yeah,
just
and they
staring at
set
her
up
like
the.
this.
Mhm.
Because there's
Yeah,
going to be a
she's
rematch
already been
there.
announced as the number one
Definitely.
contender. So my guess is that
Hmm.
match gonna happen on the first Raw on Netflix, and Rhea Ripley will finally get her win and get her belt back because Rhea said this has
Right.
got to end once and for all. We can't keep doing this. So so I'm guessing that
Yeah.
she'll get the title back and have a run that she was supposed to have.
I was just going to ask you that. What are your thoughts on
Yeah, I
that?
mean Rhea gets this belt, and Liv Morgan has to drop this belt. That match between her and Io Sky was god awful. I mean, if the
Hmm.
only person she can have a good match with is Rhea Ripley because Rhea Ripley have a good match with a wet plastic, a wet paper bag, so it doesn't matter. So she's that good.
I agree. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I try not to I had my mom over, she was doing
Hmm.
my hair. So I know it looks purple, but it's supposed to be brown, but the red is still kind of, hanging in there a
Yeah.
little bit, guys. Try not to hold that against
Hmm.
me. But no, when I watched this, I was kind of like, paying more attention to my
Yeah.
mother at this point than the EO Sky match. But like I said, when Rhea came out and was like standing there staring at her, love it. Love it. That was
Yeah, that this
awesome.
was a throwaway match to get Liv Morgan to defend her title because Io Sky's are winning this belt. And the match was awful. Liv Morgan botched a number of times, so did Io Sky. So neither of them really
Mhm.
were impressive in this match. And luckily only lasted 9 minutes. So Liv Morgan goes over.
It seemed like an
Yeah.
eternity, though. It's like, okay, girls, let's
She
go.
she
Are we
goes
done
over with
yet?
her Oblivion finish, which sucks, and it especially looked bad here. I'm not sure if Io Sky never took it or what, but it looked terrible here. So it's like a rolling DDT,
Hmm.
basically. That's what it looked like. It was bad. That's
Hmm.
what it looks like most times, unless Rhea Ripley's taking it. Then she takes it brutally and good. But everybody else takes that a rolling DDT.
Yeah.
It's just horrible. So Liv Morgan wins. They set up their title match with Rhea Ripley at I assume it's going to be the first Raw on Netflix because they're already setting that up as a pay per view. So
Okay. So they've moved the Royal Rumble to
yeah,
February, guys.
February
Let's
1st.
remember that
Mhm.
that we move Rumble to February so that we have to have something. Is that
Yeah,
January
the
6th
first
when
Raw
that
on
goes to
Netflix is January
Netflix?
6th.
Okay. Okay. So we have this big, oh, we're moving to Netflix kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um I say that, I mean, it's going to be definitely
Yeah, she
Rhea.
has to go over
It's
and
got
get
to
this
be.
belt because I thought they were saving it for WrestleMania, but then she's like, "This feud has to end once and for all." I'm like, I guess they're not saving it for WrestleMania then.
No, but they could have like maybe Charlotte Flair come back against
Yeah, that's what
Rhea.
I'm thinking because
Maybe
according to
ish.
the dirt sheets, which WWE works constantly, but according to the dirt sheets, they're saying Charlotte is going to come back imminently. So I wouldn't be surprised if she came back on the first
Mhm.
Raw after Rhea wins the title, and then set up that match for WrestleMania,
Okay.
which would be a bigger match than Liv
Right.
Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. So
Right. So, I mean, this is what I thought originally, guys. I
yeah,
thought, this is a non match, only in name
it was
only. So it was just to get Rhea
yeah.
over and to get that match with her and Liv
Hmm.
Morgan again. But I wonder what they're going to do with Raquel and then, of course, with Dominic
They're
as
setting up
well.
a story with the separation of Judgment Day once and for all. You can tell that Dominic and Rhea, not Rhea, Dominic and Liv and Raquel is kind of turning on Finn Balor, and Finn Balor, the other guy, his tag team partner, and Carlito are like on one side. So it seems like they're splitting up the
Mhm.
Judgment Day once and for all. So we'll see when that happens, but yet let's and I don't know what.
Well, and if you notice, like on Raw, if we could also talk about
Yeah.
that too. It just seemed like, I mean, when Gunther was against Damian, or not Damian Priest, was
Hmm.
against Dominic, they had no option but to cheer Dominic, and everybody I mean, they still
Yeah.
boo him. I mean, they booed him on Raw, but like the last time on Raw, it was Dominic versus Gunther, and they literally had to cheer for
Yeah.
Dominic.
And that shows me what a good heel Gunther is because Dominic is the one guy that they really the fans would never cheer unless it's against Gunther. Yeah.
Yeah, because they won't
Yeah.
even let him talk. They just boo and they will not let
Well,
him talk. And then Dominic's like, listen to
yeah,
me.
but if I
Let me
saw that
talk.
match, but Dominic worked like the babyface. He's always Gunther took most of that match, and he beat him obviously, but he worked
Hmm.
like the babyface. That's why
Yeah,
he was getting over as a babyface, which shows how talented Dominic is because he might be a babyface one of these days. I mean, he can get over like that. So
that's why I'm saying they may, if they do separate the
Judgment Day,
Judgment Day like they want to, I could see maybe Rhea Ripley kind of forgiving Dominic, because again, she made reference to his phallus being
yeah,
small, or having him, a pickle or something, a small
pickle
little
slut.
pickle. Yeah. So I mean, it's coming to that where, I mean, they're still at odds
Hmm.
with each other, but I could almost see like maybe Dominic was playing Liv this whole time, and maybe there was some oh mommy, I was just kidding, can I come back?
So
So
yeah,
like they're already starting to go with, that maybe Dominic could be turned
yeah.
babyface. So that would be interesting to see coming down when they get to Netflix and see the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and see if Dominic will turn and go
Mhm.
back with Liv. Excuse me, Rhea.
Yeah, they're setting up the Raw from Netflix like a pay per view. You already have Roman Reigns versus Solo for the Will Fala. You have CM Punk versus
Right,
Seth
right.
Rollins. You have so they're setting up like a pay per view basically. They're not saving this.
Well, and those two can't, they couldn't stop fighting
Hmm.
at Raw. You had CM Punk beating up Seth Rollins beating up Punk. And but it all came down from that Punk interview from,
Hmm.
basically saying that, I don't think about you at all, but you think about me all the time.
Yeah,
He's like, hey, if you want to fight, let's fight. Let's do it.
and this could be a
So
series.
anyway,
Like Punk wins one, Seth wins one, and then they have the blow off at I don't know
yeah,
when because the Royal Rumble's right after that, and CM Punk wants to go for a world title. And I don't know when they would have
right.
unless Seth Rollins
But
win
then
the
you
world title
have
at some
John Cena.
point. Yeah, and you have Cena coming back.
So you have
That's
CM Punk
another
and
thing
John
that's happening
Cena.
January
Yeah, yeah.
6th. Cena's returning for his run, for his final run, which is going to be full time apparently.
Hmm.
He cleared his schedule for 2025.
Are you gonna go? Is he gonna go babyface, or you see him maybe
Who?
going heel?
Oh, he's a
John
baby
Cena.
face. He's a legend. There's no way that
Okay.
even they try to turn him. He's not. They're not going to be able to get him booed. So he's a baby face. So retire as a baby face. So
Yeah.
all right, so the next match was a triple threat match for the world title of Gunther defeating Finn Balor and Damian Priest by pinfall. So 11 minutes and 5 seconds.
I'm sorry, I could not just get into I couldn't get into it. It was kind of like, just somebody win is what I kept saying. Just somebody win so we can get to the other match,
Yeah,
matches. What did you think about this? I want to hear what you
that's
have to
fine.
say.
I mean, the match was, I mean, of course, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, I think either Finn Balor or Damian Priest went for weapons. Again, I didn't really pay attention too much because, again, it was like one of these multi-man matches, which WWE's been doing a lot more lately, and I don't like that. That's more like an
Hmm.
AEW thing.
Well, as they say, triple threat match
No,
means
it's
no
automatically no DQ.
disqualification. Late in
Yeah,
the
that's
game.
been the WWE rule for since the Attitude Era. I think they throw that in
Hmm.
there. Before they really didn't have multi-man matches, so yeah, so it was okay. It wasn't much to write home about. Wasn't really impressed. I mean, Finn Balor didn't really belong there, and we already seen Gunther and Damian Priest so many times. Like, ugh, so. eh.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna take Finn Balor, seriously and get him to a serious titles match, I mean, you need to put more muscle on the bones. He's what, 185 soaking wet?
He's
I mean,
listed.
it comes down to,
He's listed
I'm
at
sorry.
195. So on WWE's website.
Okay, so 195 soaking wet. Guys, I mean, champions back in our day were 200, 300 pounds. I mean, Hogan was all muscle, 300
Hmm.
pounds. Warrior was almost 300 pounds, but it was all muscle. So, I mean, if they want these smaller guys to be a part of their company, that's fine. However, they need to start looking like they're real wrestlers, and I just don't foresee Gunther losing to Finn Balor. No offense to Finn Balor, I mean, you're not the face of this company. Someone like Gunther who actually knows how to wrestle is um, maybe Damian Priest, but I don't. Damian Priest botches things, and I don't like that because I said, "Oh no, there's
Yeah,
another botch."
I don't know. It's just he's not. He had a world title run before, and it didn't really go well either, in my opinion. So it was one of those things where, yeah, I'm glad they elevated him
Right.
because he looks like a wrestler, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, his world title run was not booked well either because he kept winning, but it was
Mm-mm.
because Judgment Day kept helping him, and it made him like a weak champion.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they booked him wasn't good either. So it was like, and now,
When I think that when they actually do have a finishing match between Balor and Damian Priest, now he won the first
yeah,
one. What's going to happen in the second one? Is he going to win the second one? And I think this has to be where he either takes Finn Balor out completely and like pretends to injure him, or Damian Priest gets injured and can't come back till
yeah,
WrestleMania, let's
because
say, or
they
right
probably have
before
to blow off at
WrestleMania, right?
WrestleMania at some. So one of them, but one
Yeah,
of them has to be hurt, or they screw each other,
yeah,
because
right,
mhm,
right.
or
Yes, perfect. Yes,
because I'm sure
yes.
Finn Balor and Damian Priest when they were Rumble match, and then one of them ran to Elimination Chamber, the other one screws them, and then that sets up the match for
Hmm.
WrestleMania. It's very similar to what Undertaker and Kevin Nash did at WrestleMania 12 or 13. Kevin Nash or Diesel cost Undertaker the world title, and then Undertaker cost Diesel the world title, and then that's how Bret Hart was the champion. So he was going to that match with Shawn
Hmm.
Michaels, I remember correctly, the Iron Man match. So
Hmm.
and then Nash and Taker had that match, and of course Taker won because Nash was leaving. So like,
Well, it had to be either 11 or 12 because at 13, Brett was against Austin, and that's
yeah.
when he
So
put him in the
it
sharpshooter, and
was whenever the
Austin
Iron Man match happened between Brett and Shawn, that 60-minute match. It might have been 12.
12, I think.
Yes,
Yeah, 12, I
yeah,
think.
so if you do something like that, there'll be heat on there'll be good heat on this match, and then you can do it at WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, so that let's see. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure who's going through.
Gunther
Yeah,
was great. I mean, Gunther was really good. They sort of cheered a little bit when it came to Finn Balor, but more with Damian
yeah,
Priest. Um, but I mean, they just
yeah.
booed
Yeah,
Gunther
this
at that
match
point
was, So all right,
because it was like a heel and a
yeah.
babyface and
So
a
there were
heel.
two heels and a
Well,
baby
who do we
face.
cheer for? Because yeah, who do we cheer for? Because at this point, we have no idea who to cheer for and who to boo. Well, they should have booed the heels, and of course, Damian Priest. But I mean, should have gotten cheered. But I just it was I think fans are kind of like throwing their hands up, going, I don't know
Yeah.
who to cheer and boo
So the
anymore.
next match, real quick, was Chelsea Green defeating Mishin for become the first ever Women's United States Champion. They were trying to push the women's title like a big deal because they were showing Harley Race and Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes like this is a historic title. Now we have it for the women, so isn't that great? I'm like, no,
Yeah, but the only thing they don't have is women who actually held the
yeah, this,
title. So it's kind of hard to take this shit seriously when you have no women who actually
yeah,
held
because
those
it's the new
belts.
belt.
Now the women's title belt was held by Rockin' Robin, by
Hmm.
Sherry, by uh Moolah at one
Yeah.
point. So you can't really take this stuff seriously when there has been no women who have been a woman's United States champion. It's always been a man. Kurt
Hmm.
was one
Another
in
one, yeah.
WCW. Flair was
Flair held it,
another
yeah.
one. Piper was another one. Yeah. So
Hmm.
Rick Rude too was also US champ at one point. So I mean, for me to take that stuff seriously, there would have to be a woman or women who actually held that title. Otherwise, it's you're just making a
So
jokery
usually
of the women's
Usually, when you establish a new title,
division.
you would put it on somebody who's a veteran, kind of been around for a long time, and to establish that title. That's what the AEW did with their first world champion, Chris Jericho. He's been around for a
Yep.
long time.
Mhm.
You establish the world title as a big deal because Jericho has it. But instead they went a different direction with Chelsea Green, who never won a title until now. So how do you establish a new
Right.
championship with her instead of putting it on somebody like Natalia, for example, who's been around for nearly 20 years in WWE now? So, and then eventually Chelsea can win it, but putting a belt on her first,
Well, it's almost like they put it on Nia Jax because, oh, she's The Rock's
yeah, that's the
cousin.
women's world title.
Well,
Yeah,
that sucks. I mean, there's a whole lot other women out there that Bailey was a good one,
yeah,
I thought. Even though I'm not much for Bailey, I'm not much for the women's division. I'm just saying that I think if you're going to have a title, at least have some veteran women that have been a champion or who could have said, like Moolah or, Sherry or, oh, yeah, I was women's U.S. champ back in
yeah.
the
But this
day.
belt's brand new.
But they never did that because the women's division was almost
Yeah,
non-existent, and it was non-existent
yeah.
in '89. Totally went
Yeah,
away.
Vince scrapped it in '89. It came back in '93 with Medusa. She named her Alonzo Blaze, though.
Hmm.
And then she left, and then the women's division disappeared again, and it came back during the Attitude Era, and it's been around ever since, pretty much. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that match, whatever, I don't care. Now let's get to the main event, which we got plenty to talk about here. We got half an hour. So Cody Rhodes, the
Hmm.
world, the undisputed champion, WWE champion, defeating Kevin Owens by pinfall in 12 minutes. So first of all, Cody came out with the Wing Eagle belt, which I love because that's the belt that I
Hmm.
grew up with, being the world champion. So that's the belt I recognize.
As
Yeah.
we all did. Yep. Austin had it. Brett had
Mhm.
it. I mean, name your champion that
It's
had it. I mean, that was the belt in the day that, you came out and that's how
you were.
you distinguished yourself. Even Hogan
Even
had
Hogan
it.
held
Yeah.
it a couple times. Savage. Yeah,
Savage.
Ric Flair held it
Yeah.
once, or twice
Ric
actually. Yeah,
Flair held it a
twice. Yeah.
couple times.
Well,
Yeah. Thanks to
yeah, that
Mr.
was the belt
Perfect.
that was established for as the world champion.
When you mention the Ric
hmm
Flair run, you have to mention Mr.
Yeah.
Perfect because he was a
For
big part of
whatever
that,
for whatever
those runs.
reason, it was Bobby Heenan as a manager, but Kurt Hennig was the executive assistant. So there were two managers for Flair.
Yeah, executive
Okay, yeah. So
consultant.
there were
Yeah.
two managers. So it was weird.
So you had to at least put, Mr.
Mhm.
Perfect in there and say, he was part of that Ric Flair
Yeah.
run, twice with the belt. And then, of course, they would not give it to Kurt for whatever reason.
It
It's just
If Kurt would have been able to come back because of his
stupid.
back, then he probably could have set up Flair versus Perfect, and Perfect win the belt instead of Brett. But
Well, and then I said that I had done more research, and actually Ric Flair asked that
oh
because Kurt was going to
yeah,
come back. Kurt was going to come back earlier than 92, November of 92. He actually wanted to come back probably in like July
hmm
or August. And Ric Flair said, nope,
he wouldn't even
I'm
work
not
with
doing
Kurt
it.
for the world title. I thought if he been able to
No.
come back, it probably would have been Kurt instead of Brett because you have Kurt turn well pretty much what happened later. I mean when Kurt turned on
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect, when Kurt turned on
By
Bobby Heenan,
then, Flair
yeah,
wasn't the
so
champion. So he was already
yeah,
going
he
to
didn't
be
mean as
leaving.
much.
And it
Yeah.
didn't make any sense to have. But I mean, when they had Kurt versus Brett at King of the Ring, which was another
hmm
wonderful, great match between these two guys. And we had been so thrilled with the 91 and then of course their matches in 89. This was, I thought this match was everything and then some, but some people didn't agree with me. I tend to, be partial to
Yeah.
Kurt, of course, because I am a Mr. Perfect fan. But I mean, these matches, I couldn't say enough great things about them, especially from Brett's
Yeah.
side too. I mean, Brett was doing pretty much everything he wanted to do with Kurt because he knew he could. He knew he could trust Kurt and that they could have really great matches with these
Yeah,
awesome
Kurt.
moves.
I mean, then Ric Flair would proceed to kind of screw around Bret Hart as champion because Bret would complain in his book and in interviews that Flair kind of screwed him over because they would,
Hmm.
have their matches and Bret's supposed to win with the sharpshooter, but instead Rick would come up with like he would do this figure four. It's like, oh, roll me up, and he would roll him up and not kick out. So it was these flat
Yeah.
finishes, these terrible finishes every night.
So Flair not only fucked over Kurt, but he
Yeah,
fucked over
because he
Brett
was
too.
killing him off as
It
champion.
was
Yeah,
kind
he
of
was killing him
poetic
off as champion. Yeah,
almost.
that's what Brett was saying.
Well, and what's even funnier is that Vince said, "Okay, Kurt, you can take Ric Flair out." So the
Yeah,
loser leave town match that was
and
between
Rick,
Kurt and Ric Flair. So it's kind of like, oh, you can kick him out, but you can't be champion. That was and Kurt never held a grudge against
Yeah.
anybody. He's just that kind of guy that would not hold a grudge. But me, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, fuck you, Flair. You're not even as
Kurt,
good as I am
yeah, he
on
was
a good
screwed.
day or
He
on
was
a
screwed
bad
over
day.
by Hogan. Hogan nixed the program with him, and I'm
Yep.
not sure.
And not just in '89. He did the axing of the West Texas
Later on,
Rednecks
yeah, in the late
later
'90s,
on.
so in WCW.
I can't follow that,
So
brother. Well, that's because Kurt has way more talent, Hogan, than you'll
yeah,
ever have.
Hogan.
How about that?
So again, Hogan wouldn't work with Kurt. Ric Flair wouldn't work for Kurt. It was like, what the hell? Like, okay, then.
I mean,
Yeah,
Brett would have. Brett would
yeah. I
have.
mean, Brett was, but yeah. Let's try to. We're off topic here. So we
I
just,
know. Okay. So, this match, I did
yeah.
like it. Some people were saying that Cody was trying to turn heel at one point, or he cheated like a heel.
No,
Maybe I missed that.
that was at the
Did you see
finish
that?
when the chair was there and Cody hit Crossroads on the chair and then hid the chair from the referee. That was the finish. That's what they were
Okay.
referring to. And he looked at the chair and then hit
Okay.
Crossroads in the chair and then kind of threw the chair out.
Well, but who brought the
It
chair
was Kevin
into the
Owens.
ring?
Yeah.
It was Kevin Owens. Right. So I don't think it was like a heel thing to do. Maybe some people
Yeah.
will see that. But like the heel brought the chair in and the babyface, like Hogan would do. Like if someone brought in a chair and was trying to use it on Hogan, Hogan would hit him
Yeah.
back with it and it would backfire
Yeah.
on the heel. I think that's how this
Yeah.
was kind of going. So I don't think this was a
I think
Cody Rhodes is
that was
going to
what
turn
they're
heel
going
kind of
for.
thing.
Yeah. And the match
Yeah,
itself was good.
no.
Cody, I don't think has had a bad match since coming back. So, and he's
Right.
fantastic in the ring. He's the complete package to me, at least. His promos. I remember when he first debuted in 2008. He kind of talked like this. He was like marble mouth, but he got much better with promos.
Because well, and Cody admits that he has
Yeah,
that lisp like
he has a list.
Dusty
Yeah, too.
has
So.
or had. Um, I don't even notice. I like Cody. I like Dusty. I don't really care about that. But
No,
I
we're
honestly don't
reviewing
think.
it. It was on last Saturday. So.
Oh yeah, it was on. No, yeah, it
Hey,
was
what's
on
up? What's up?
last
Thank you for
Saturday.
joining us.
Please like and
Uh,
subscribe and share with all your friends, your
yeah,
wrestling friends. No, I that's what I saw something on X about that, and I was like, I don't think it's Cody turning heel. I
no, it's
can't
that
see that,
spot.
especially. I mean, the only time I could see him turning heel, and they were showing some of that when he was in
Hmm.
AEW, and people were throwing stuff in the ring, and it
Yeah,
was really bad.
the story
Um,
behind that is the AW crowd turned on him because they saw him. Yeah,
oh, the
because they
crowd
saw
turned
him as
on
a
him.
WWE guy for some reason, even though he created the company and got Tony Khan to invest, and he was pretty much booking the show initially when it first started. Tony didn't start
Wow.
booking after Cody left, so that's when it fell apart. So, and he,
But everybody is up on their feet I mean, the only time I could really see him turning heel is maybe against John Cena at WrestleMania. And that's if they don't have something with Roman
Yeah,
Reigns
it's
in there.
interesting because there's some rumors of a Cody Cena match at WrestleMania, and then Cena putting him over as like the next guy, because and even though the match with The Rock's supposed to happen, but they keep insisting The Rock is not available for
Yeah.
WrestleMania this year, so they're not going to do the match. And I'm like, then why tease it
Mhm.
right after WrestleMania? Then he wasn't going to be available. So
That could just be teasing
yeah, I
down the
guess so.
road. But I mean, this match was everything it should be. It had that
Hmm.
drama. It had that, this is all your fault, Cody. Kevin Owens coming out of his shell, being the
Yeah,
heel that he is. I got to see him in that where he was putting down
yeah,
Texas with Stone Cold. I think we
yeah,
were
that
talking
was
about that last week.
WrestleMania.
He really came out of his shell here. I mean, this wasn't like the friend versus friend, Cody
That
Rhodes
was their
versus
first
Kevin
match. That
Owens,
was their
friend
first
versus
match,
friend.
which they did.
Right. This is all
Mhm.
your fault, Cody. I'm going to hold you responsible. And then, of course, the right
Yeah,
man
and
won. Now, like I said, with the whole cheating thing, again, I think it was he wanted the heel to, the heel was trying to get at him, and he was having like Hogan, he would have it backfire on the heel.
yeah.
And the heel would get the
Mhm.
comeuppance. So then, if you talk about Well, let me hear your thoughts, and then we'll go
I
to the
like I like this
aftermath.
match. It was a good main event, and Jesse on commentary was he was good with Pat.
Oh,
He was good with Pat
mwah!
and Michael Cole. He
It's like, that's not fair,
yeah,
Cody
and then after the
Rhodes.
match,
I guess they maybe got that heel thing, that maybe Cody was going to turn heel or did a heel thing because
yeah,
of Jesse. Because Jesse's like, well, use the
yeah, and
chair,
he's like then after and
So maybe they
yeah,
got that from that.
it
Okay,
was a
I can
great
see
match,
that,
and
but
then
no,
the
that was
finish one.
just something
Yeah,
that
the
Hogan would
finish
do.
1, 2, 3, and then Michael Cole was like blah blah blah. Cody wins, and everybody's happy. Then Jesse points out Cody cheated. He used the chair. Michael Cole was like, "Oh well, Kevin Owens brought it in the ring," but Jesse was like, "But you used it, Rhodes." So he was being the heel commentator.
Well, yeah, because he was trying to get the come up. He was trying to get Kevin Owens
Uh huh.
to see that he done fucked up. He
Yeah.
done fucked up, dude. You brought in the chair, and now it got used on you because you were going to use it on
Yeah.
Cody. Good
Good match too.
psychology here. Good psychology. It's old
Hmm.
psychology. Kind of like Hogan would do to his
So
opponents. Like if someone had tossed the chair into the ring, Hogan would pick it up and wait for the heel to get back in the ring. Oh, I'm so cool because I'm gonna hit Hogan with a chair, and then
backfire.
Hogan would use
Yeah,
it
they
on you, right?
usually.
It
Yeah,
would
so
backfire.
Hogan was not good with a chair. I wouldn't have him use it every.
No,
Yeah,
neither was Piper. They showed
yeah.
that on X. Piper
Yeah,
did the same thing. You just
yeah,
go
with
oink.
the famous one was Hogan with the Giant or Big Show. He would just like did that, and it was just awful.
Yeah. But yet the chair versus chair match, or I think it was just a chair match that he had with Kurt Hennig. I mean, he wailed on Kurt Hennig. I
Yeah, he
mean,
did.
bam! I mean, Piper
Yeah,
didn't stop. He just was relentless in that match, and I just remember Kurt going, "Fuck this!
yeah,
I'm out of here. I'm not gonna get hit
yeah.
in the head with
So
a chair."
Jesse did great. The match was great. Then the after the show's over, because the show ended right after that when Cody did this with the belt,
Right.
and they got out of there.
Right. So
Yeah,
they
they go
go
off
off
the
the
air.
air, and then if it hadn't been for me, you wouldn't have seen it. But if it wouldn't be for the fact that I actually went back through X, and then all these uh,
Yeah,
images showed up, and then of
because
course the videos would show up later of these fans who literally saw Kevin Owens give him and it was like a tucked
it was.
pile
Yeah,
driver.
it
Did you see
was,
that?
a package trial driver, and the reason why there were people are marking out.
Is
Yeah,
that what
they
they
were
call
marking
it?
out because that was
Okay.
Kevin's finish in, Ring of Honor, like, 15 years ago, so,
Okay.
they brought that back, and
Okay.
people, "Oh my god, that was his finish in Ring of Honor 15 years ago," everybody's like, melting like, "Oh, yes, he used it," So, yeah, and Cody sold it like death. If you saw, he never got up
Oh
again,
my
he never even
god.
moved, so
He
mhm,
never got up, and he sold it great. And he sold it literally like, I'm
mhm,
not moving. They carted him out of the ring just like
with
the
Randy
old
Orton.
times, like they did
Orton
with
recently,
Randy
yeah,
Orton. They did that so many times in so many territories, and then eventually they would do it in the
yeah,
WWF as well. I was recently watching the one with Matt Bourne when he
mhm,
was Doink, and him smacking Brian Adams,
mhm,
who was Crush, with the
yeah.
pretend arm, and he was smacking him in the back, and they had to cart him out. So I mean, they've used that angle, but very
Yeah,
sparingly,
and
you know. But now this is what fans are literally
yeah,
filming this. Now, guys, remember when they did this before at Bad Blood?
uh, what
When
they
was this?
did
The
with
first
Randy,
time.
that was on SmackDown, I think. Mhm, mhm,
Okay, so with
and it
Randy, well,
aired.
I know, I mean the
Oh, no,
fans
when Kevin
actually
turned heel, when he
filming this.
that was
Yes.
outside with the fans there, and they all filmed it. Mm,
Right. So they did so great
yeah,
with these ratings. I was saying
mhm,
this to you on X,
yeah,
I think. They did so great, and they had a huge rating boost because the fans
yeah,
actually filmed it. Now we're getting into the territory wrestling where fans are going, "Oh shit, this shit
mhm,
is real. This shit just got real." Where they're actually
mhm.
filming it, not a
There was not a
production
single
crew,
camera
not
there
a TV
in the
production.
WWE.
There was no TV cameras there. It was all fan footage, and it's literally Kevin Owens does his move. They cart
Mhm,
Cody out, And of course, Triple H, here comes Triple H. What the fuck are you getting up in
they
Kevin
were like
Owens'
this
face and
and
smacking
shoving
him
each
because
other.
he took the belt. He took
He
that
still
winged
has it.
belt. He
He
took
still
it away
has
from
it.
Cody. Yeah, he
And the
still
angle-
has it. And Triple H tried to knock it out of his hands and getting up in his face and what the fuck are you doing? And it was
and the
awesome.
angle is
this is exactly what we wanted to see as fans. And literally, it was not even on the air. You had to see it on X, and you had to get people to videotape it.
And
it was
they know
great.
for a
they did great the first time. They did excellent
WWE
this
knows
time.
for a fact that fans are recording. And back in the day, you weren't allowed to record. They literally would say,
no,
video cameras are banned, but you're allowed to take pictures, like still pictures. Today, now they know, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to use them. We're going to use that.
Yeah, fuck
because
this.
people are not going to
we
keep
want
recording.
to become the TV now.
So we're going to use it.
Become
we're
our
going to use it
TV.
now. So that's why they started doing this, and it's fantastic. But
and it hits so, and you're just like, you feel that through Triple H. You could feel like his
he's good
anger
too.
and
He still
his.
got it.
You just took out my champion, bitch. You
So
know. I mean, he was very confrontational.
because Triple H, chose. Actually, technically, Vince chose him because when he came back, Vince was still there, but he never won the title under Vince. So with this Triple H is champion.
But Cody has exponentially gotten so much more. I mean, his promos are maybe still not there, but as I was telling somebody earlier, I said, we've gone from wrestlers who literally did promos off the top of their head to where it's all written down. And other wrestlers have learned those lines and can feed their lines to you if you forget.
The problem is that these WWE stars are so used to the script that you take it away from them.
They're so used
trying
to
to
the
cut
script that
promos,
they
it's
couldn't
like,
come up with
no,
something off the top
not
of their
gonna work.
heads. Right.
I'm sure you
But-
didn't. I'm sure
but
they didn't script Jesse. I mean, it was like, just go out there and do your thing.
No, because Jesse would have said, "Is this really what Jesse Ventura would have
he would
said?"
have fought it all the way.
I mean, it was brilliant.
He would have fought it all the way.
I
it's
loved
like,
it.
Even if they handed him a script,
Right.
it's like he would just throw it in the garbage probably and just go out there and do.
Well, that's what he did with Vince. Basically, he had told me that. Well, not me, but he told everyone on Clubhouse. He said, "Now, really, he said to Vince, he said, now would Jesse Ventura really say all this stuff?" And Vince was taken aback. He's like,
No.
No.
All right, then. Why would I read this?
And eventually it was scrapped. Yeah, I mean, Vince didn't want to use Jesse because he didn't want to use the script because he said Jesse Ventura would never say this. He would just go off the cuff and be that commentator that you needed to be, right?
Color
so
guy.
that heel commentator, just like he would pave the way for Kurt later when Kurt would be the heel commentator. I don't think Kurt ever used a script. He just went off the cuff and watched the wrestling and did the wrestling commentary as it was. He was a heel. So it's
the number one thing is you have to know what's going on. And I don't think Jesse's been watching the television. The only thing he knows about is the Cody Rhodes thing in the main event. That's why they only stuck him there in that match. And then he also did say, "Oh, I like Liv Morgan because, she did this, this, and this." And I'm like, okay. I mean, you have to throw a bone somewhere, but I didn't like that match either. So I don't know why he said that, but.
Well, I think he was just kind of watching the matches, maybe getting it to soak in what's really going on.
I don't think
now that he's back in it, but he was out for a long time, and a lot of the wrestlers wouldn't watch it. The wrestlers of our era,
they're not watching it.
They just wouldn't watch wrestling anymore. It got to be too much. Like, I can't believe they're doing this and this and this. But I can't say enough great things about that angle at the end. That is exactly what you wanted to do. You got such great ratings the first time, and now, man, is it blasting out AEW.
Yeah, now the plan is Kevin Owens still has that belt, by the way, the Winged Eagle belt, and he's going to defend it on the holiday tour they're having after Christmas. So he's going to defend it. Cody's not going to be on this tour, apparently, because Kevin Owens is going to defend his...
Well, no, he has to play the victim that got taken out by this, what'd you call him?
Package file driver, they were calling it. The fans were marking out about it because they hadn't used it in 15 years, so...
Yeah, so it looked like, it looked terrible, okay? Not terrible, but I mean, it looked like it really hurt. Okay, it looked like it really affected Cody Rhodes. So brilliant brilliant Kevin Owens, brilliant Cody Rhodes, Triple H. That's all I can say. I've never seen better angles than the fans actually
Yeah.
doing it. Oh shit, this shit
Mhm.
just got real because look, Triple H did this
And
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 Kevin Owens did
WWE
this and oh my
and
god, can you
WWE
believe
aired
it?
they uploaded official footage of that, but they didn't show the Triple H and Kevin Owens shoving match. So yeah, so that was only for the fans to film, you know. So
Right. Right. Excellent, excellent. Like I said, all around, I can't say enough good things about this angle because again, when you get the fans involved, now they're like, oh shit, maybe wrestling isn't fake.
yeah, it's like they're
You know, because they would why would they turn off and make the fans film it,
yeah,
right? Well, I mean, there's has to be something real about this going on in the
yeah.
background, you know, and you know, it's good entertainment
So
and with the
next month
fans.
is another Saturday Night's Main Event from San Antonio. So they're having the Raw, the first Raw on Netflix is gonna be pay-per-view quality, and that Saturday Night's Main Event's gonna be good too. So and then the Royal Rumble's in February, and that's the road to WrestleMania right at that point. So
And WrestleMania, the second night is on my
oh
birthday.
wow, so
April 20th
and then
is the second night of this
and then we would have to
WrestleMania.
review the whole thing the next Saturday, and that's gonna take us forever.
Yep.
So I don't know. But we'll get to that. That's way ahead. I'm going way ahead. But
We could do one like one night, one day, and then you know, like the Friday, we could do like an hour before and do hour night one, and
well, that
then
could work. Yeah, that could
Saturday night
work.
two.
And so
Hmm.
yeah, so the Saturday Night's Main Events next month, and you know it's all that. You know it's
I mean, WWE is literally reaching for the stars and is already in the star cosmos. And AEW is so underground they can't even see straight.
yeah, and they're not, and their Australian show is not selling well at all. The one we talked about.
I
Yeah,
wonder
and they don't have any
why.
television in Australia. That's the thing I don't understand. Why book that show? You have no television, so nobody really knows who any of these guys are over there. So yeah, they had to move it to a smaller arena, and even then, it's not doing that well either. So it's like it's not. It's gonna be
Well, I
embarrassing
mean, I've been
that
hearing
attendance.
about it and it's literally
Mm,
just
yeah,
shit. That's all I keep hearing from, you know, I listen to Jim Cornette and he's like, I can't believe this shit is still on TV. Their average ratings for 2 weeks ago or a week
hmm
ago, I think, was literally the average was
yeah,
500,000
and
plus.
they're
Not even they're not even
and
at
they're getting
8.
beat by NXT, which is WWE's developmental. They had a developmental
NXT,
show
which is
every
not
week.
even yeah, they're not there's just them the guys who are like
Yeah.
getting developed for the main roster of
Yeah, and they're getting
WWE.
beat by that, so I don't know
No.
how much
I'm like, guys, give up the
yeah,
ghost. It's time. It's
I
time to
don't know how
go
much
move
longer
on.
Turner's gonna put up with these ratings before they just cancel the show. Mhm.
Again, like I said, WCW before they got sold out had better ratings
Yeah.
than AEW
Mhm.
does today.
But, of course, I'm sure AEW fans will say, "Well, it was the early 2000s, people had more cable, they were this, that, and the third, more people watching TV, so."
People have the internet. They could put them they're losing internet
Mhm.
deals, guys. I mean, we have the internet now where millions and millions of people can literally see this shit and they don't want to see it. They don't even want to
Hell,
see it
I
live.
have not actually watched an AEW Dynamite in, what, 4 months, maybe 5 months? So
I don't even
yeah,
want to see it.
John Moxley is the world champion, and for some reason he has a belt in the briefcase and won't show it, and I'm like,
Right.
"Why?" And then, I don't know. Yeah,
What do they call Moxley? Dick the Boozer.
yeah, because
That's what they called him on Jim
he tries to
Cornette.
work like a Bruiser Brody or a, guy like that, and he's not big enough, first of all, and second of all, he's just not that good either, so it's like, "Why what are you doing?"
He was a really bad Dean Ambrose on WWE. That's why they got rid of him. I'm so glad WWE got rid of him because he is a nothing burger. I mean, and then they make this clown
Vince
champion. I
Vince
can't get over it.
used him in the best way possible. He did get over, and he was WWE champion a couple times, but ultimately, when he wanted to leave, they just let him go. Like, okay, you can. They didn't even try to keep him. Like, okay, so they gave him a farewell, which was respectful, which I was surprised. Vince usually buries guys on the way out, but they gave him a good send off, basically.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we don't want you anyway, so just go. We'll give you a good send off. But yeah, AEW is just awful. We have about 10 minutes, so start migrating over to Rumble now because Alex will be coming on about 10 minutes, and you know, so we're watching clips for about 45 minutes because we can't go to full hour because Indy
Yeah.
is airing his interview with the dissident who's the but by the way, that's at 10 o'clock. It's the top of the hour, or not top of the hour, but at 10 o'clock.
So is that with the Due
No, that's
Dissidents
the
guy?
dissident who's a Substack writer, not the dissident guys. So they're
Oh,
very
okay.
similar, but
Okay.
the names, but no, we haven't gotten due dissidents to come on. No, I think. Wait, I may be wrong on that. Maybe Reef and Colin had him on INN News, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I don't remember at least. But yeah, I mean that's Saturday night's main event for you. It was overall a good show, even though the middle was kind of garbage, and the first match and the last match were my favorites. Drew McIntyre match and Cody match were my favorites.
I love
The
that Drew McIntyre match. I loved it, loved it, loved
Yeah,
it.
the rest of the show in the middle was kind of painful and it was tough to watch, but I was just waiting for the Cody match, so because I knew that would be good too.
And then, like I said, they hit another home run with the whole, letting the fans film this angle.
So,
Such a great. I mean, they
oh,
did such a great time the first time when Kevin Owens beat up Cody
so
in
what
the
was funny
parking lot.
about that Triple H Kevin Owen thing? Since there were some fans and some dirt sheets speculating that Triple H gonna have a match with Kevin Owens, and I'm like, he has a
Mhm.
goddamn pacemaker. He can't work. Like, why would you makes you think that
Well,
he would come back and have a match? He can't. Like, he literally can't.
right. But what's cool is he actually
Yeah,
did get
he
in
did get a
Kevin
little
Owens's
physical, yeah. So
face.
it was like they shoved each
Yeah,
other.
that was
Yep.
pretty darn awesome.
Yep. So, but other than that, he's not gonna have a match. He's not gonna do anything physical anymore. And it makes no sense why even people even thought that. Even some dirt sheets were writing it like, "Hey, this could
Hmm.
be a match at WrestleMania." Like based on what? The Triple H had the pacemaker pulled. That's the only way you can have a match. And he can't have pacemaker pulled because he can die any second. He's a heart defect. He can.
Right, right. Well, no, I just like it to the effect of, well, at least Triple H could at least
Yeah.
show emotion and be like, instead of like a robot and be like, oh, Kevin Owens. But no, he got up in Kevin Owens'
Mm-hmm.
face and he was really physical and yeah, I understand the whole heart thing. But I mean, this was pretty darn
Yeah.
close to what we would expect from
Yeah.
Triple H if he would. I mean, he lost his
Yeah.
champion. That would Cody was his
Yeah.
man and
He's
his
the one who's
champion. So I
behind right now.
mean, yeah, he is the one who. I mean, what was he telling Randy? I just got
I
you
don't want to
back.
lose you.
I don't wanna lose you.
And
Yeah.
Randy insisted on the match with Kevin Owens, and you see what happened there. So he'll probably be back by the
Right.
Netflix show
Right.
next year. So my guess is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. I mean, Kevin Owens and Cody has to have another match because Kevin Owens stole his belt.
Yes.
So and Cody would win, and then or Randy may cost Kevin Owens the match, and Cody would win, and you protect Kevin Owens for his match with Randy Orton, which probably take place either at Saturday night's main event or at WrestleMania. So, yep. So let's see. We got 7 more minutes. I don't know whether we can talk about a little bit about the Netflix show that's coming up. Unfortunately, I might have to pay for Netflix, which I'm not in love with, but if I want to see that pay-per-view quality show, I might have to pay for it. So
Don't I think they have a um 7 day
yeah, they used
trial
to.
if you
They
want to
used to have
try
them on
that.
free.
Oh, they don't know
But they
anymore.
kind of scrapped the free trials. Like, what people would do is they would watch for 6 days and then cancel, and then have a new email address.
Hmm.
Use another. That people would just create new email addresses so they can have the free trial, and
Mm,
they were kind of ripping off Netflix that way. So it's like we're scrapping the free trials. Like a lot of these on streaming sites are scrapping the free trials because they're not making any money. Because as people would do, just use different email addresses to keep using the service for free.
mm,
So yeah,
hmm,
unfortunately, there's no free trial, so I'm
okay.
gonna have to we're gonna have to get in order to watch Raw on Netflix. So my mother is gonna
I
go.
was so convinced that literally we could find maybe just like
Oh no,
highlights of
yeah, there'll
it
be highlights.
like I've been
Yeah,
seeing
there'll be
on.
highlights
Okay.
on WWE's YouTube channel and on Twitter and stuff. But in order to watch the whole show live, you have to order Netflix. So either you watch the highlights or you order Netflix. Oh my god, I'm on X because Alex sent me a bunch of clips for us to watch, and I see Ricochet in the ring for Collision, and the fans hate him because they're throwing toilet paper at him. They're throwing toilet paper at him, like like he just.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, it's on X right now. Collision's on right now, so it goes from 8 to 10. So yeah, he left WWE for AEW, and it's been a disaster. WWE used him in the way he should have been used. Now he's cutting promos, and he has this fucking ha ha. He ends his promos like that with the aha. He's trying to get that over, and I'm like, what is that? That's cringe. What are you doing? This is why he never cut promos in WWE, because he sucks. He's not good at it. And now in AEW, he's cutting promos. Like, what are you doing?
I was gonna say I saw that and I just hated that. Really, you're throwing toilet
Yeah,
paper
apparently
at him?
they don't either. They don't like him, or I don't understand. I haven't really watched AEW, so I don't know whether they hate him or they.
No, but I did see clips on
Yeah,
X because unfortunately they show me this stupid
yeah,
bullshit. I can't help it. I mean, when I scroll
yeah. You
through, I
see it
mean,
there.
there's a whole bunch of people who have all this, oh, let's watch, this and that from AEW. I'm like, I don't want to watch AEW.
Yeah. So everybody start migrating over to the Rumble pages and the other platforms because we got to go over there. And there's no time to waste, so because we only have 45 minutes because we have to do our plugs before we wrap up. So that's that. Raw is having so far we know Roman Reigns and Solo, Cody, not Cody, Kevin, Randy Orton. Again, I'm screwing up like crazy. CM Punk and Seth
Okay.
Rollins. We have. I'm sure we're gonna have returns. Like Randy Orton's probably coming back there because I'm assuming Cody and Kevin Owens will have their rematch at the first Raw. So I mean, Randy Orton comes back at that point. We could see Charlotte Flair come back possibly on that show because that's most likely what's going to end up happening. So then we see Charlotte and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania most likely, which they had that match before at WrestleMania 36, I think it was. It was the COVID WrestleMania when they had that match the first time, but very few people saw it because it was in the Performance Center, which was a whole other drama. WrestleMania was at the Performance Center with nobody there, so it was like an interesting watch. It's like the guys they couldn't feed off the fans because nobody's there, so the matches seemed kind of awkward, and you can hear him calling spots. It's just not good.
I was just on X and I just saw this Dynamite thing. Oh God, effing Dynamite.
So we're gonna wrap up here on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. Get on the other platforms, and yeah, we're gonna see you guys. Are we doing a show next week? Are you able to do a show or?
Yeah, the 28th.
A
Oh
few
yeah,
days
I can
after
do that.
Christmas. Yeah. So yeah, so we're probably gonna. What I'm probably thinking of doing that day is because not much going on in wrestling. AEW has a pay-per-view called World's End. I'm not sure. I mean, we might talk about it, we might not. But I did have an idea where I would use like Gronk to predict the card of WrestleMania next year, for both nights, and then we can talk about it for the first hour. Be interesting to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe as far WrestleMania is 4 months away, but we can have because there's not much to talk about in wrestling because WWE is kind of shutting down for the rest of the year after here's Alex, but they're shutting down for the rest of the year because of the holidays. And
Oh, Ricochet. Ugh, they're talking about Ricochet and MGF. I mean, guys, come on. These guys aren't even relevant. You can't say MGF is relevant because he
not
isn't
anymore.
doing any revenue.